And what I'm about to show you is one of the best examples for why we need term limits in Congress. I almost didn't want to cover this because, on one hand, it's sad to see someone this old, someone who is unable to accomplish regular human tasks, which happens to all of us, at some point late in our lives. But on the other hand, this man is a sitting U.S. senator, someone who partially dictates the laws that we all have to abide by. So let's watch this and we'll break it down.
Excuse me, Senator? My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Oh my God.
Dude.
You hate to see it. One more time.
Excuse me, Senator? My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. If you've been following politics at all over the past 5 or 6 years, you've seen Mitch McConnell freeze up on the mic as if he's having a stroke, which very well may be the case. And just like any dementia patient at a nursing home, he has his good days and his bad days. Some days he can walk on his own without needing help from his helper, and some days like this, he can't. The caption says, octogenarians shouldn't be running the country. I agree, especially when it gets to the point where you can't walk without someone holding you up. I don't know, maybe I'm a little radical for thinking this, but I feel like our elected officials should be able to walk on their own without having to be propped up like a doll. I mean, look at this.
Excuse me, Senator?
Yeah, this guy's like, oh no, here we go. The senator at least was savvy enough to realize that he was being recorded. So what he did was he let go of the helper's hand because he didn't want it to look too bad, even though this is all over the news. It doesn't help that he's walking like he took a giant shit in his boxers.
Off the streets and kidnapping them?
And I don't know if he caught it the first time, but what he tries to say to the woman here, I swear I tried my very best to try to decipher some semblance of a message, something. Let's watch it again. What he says here.
Dude.
Like I said before, this happens to many people. Chances are it'll happen to me. It'll happen to you. There will be a moment late in our life where we are physically or mentally, cognitively incapable of performing like we used to. Do you remember a guy, what was his name? His name was Joe Biden. Does that ring a bell? Republicans spent, and some Democrats too, spent the entirety of 2024 and most of 2023 telling us that Joe Biden was not fit to be president because he said things in his words that sounded very, very old. And clearly his cognitive ability was slow, very, very slow, like dementia, no doubt. But bro was very active. He was running, riding bikes. He had his good days, like the State of the Union 2023, I believe, 2022, was one of his best performances ever at like 82 years old. So he had his good days. He had a lot of bad days. Can you imagine if Joe Biden had to be physically like held up, like propped up to walk around? Biden had a lot of gaffes in his speech. He sounds like he's 182 years old, but this does not sound like that. This sounds like his brain is like mush. It's a shame. It's a travesty that either one, he hasn't stepped down and retired, like his family hasn't forced him to do it somehow. And two, the Republican Party has not stepped up and done what is right and replace him. Have him step down, do a special election in Kentucky. This is unacceptable, and it's almost elder abuse. You heard that a lot with Joe Biden. It's elder abuse. It's elder abuse. Look at him. He can't even speak. His brain is bleeding out of his ears. That was true, but at least the Democrats, it took a while, right? The summer of 2024. It took until then. But at least the Democrats had the balls to call for him to resign, to call for him to not run for re-election. By midsummer of last year, nearly every prominent Democrat was like, yeah, we need someone else, dog. This isn't working. Why haven't the Republicans done that for this guy? This is not just elder abuse. Of course, there's the perspective of like he is not physically okay, let him rest at home and not put him through this, because this is embarrassing and sad to watch. But it's also sad when you realize that he is one of the 100 people in the Senate who votes on extremely consequential pieces of legislation. This man's brain isn't working. This man's feet and legs aren't working. And yet you expect the voters in Kentucky to feel fine with him representing them? That's crazy to me. This might be the worst video I've ever seen. This is Mitch McConnell in 2023, and he's asked, are you going to run for re-election in 2026? Here's how he responds to these questions.
About what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
He's having a stroke, and this is all on live television at a local news station in Kentucky. He's asked explicitly, are you thinking about running for re-election in 2026? And he stands there clearly having some sort of episode. I don't want to continue on this Joe Biden comparison, but my point in doing that is that this is way worse than anything Biden did. Biden didn't have clear strokes on national television, although sometimes he would lose track of what he's saying, which is a clear sign of dementia, but that's completely normal given his age. Like losing track of thoughts, having gaffes, having, slurring his words occasionally. That's what I expect out of an 84-year-old man. Here's one more, and I don't want to keep ragging on this guy, but I have to make the point that this is unacceptable. Just watch this guy. From 2 years ago, he's giving a press briefing in the United States Senate. Watch what happens.
This week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Go ahead, John. I'll take that.
Could you address what happened here at the start of the press conference, and was it related to your injury from earlier this year where you suffered a concussion? Is that
I'm fine.
you're fine, you're fully able to
Yeah.
do your job?
This is the most clear example for why we need term limit. They make decisions on our behalf that dictate, that impact every area of our life. Term limits in Congress, specifically in the Senate, that's the bare minimum. Really, a lot more than that needs to happen. Let me ask you one question, and this is a genuine question. How much have you heard about this Mitch McConnell thing? How much has mainstream media talked about this? And the answer is just about not at all, right? The amount of attention they're giving this is a fraction of a percent of the attention that Biden got when everyone was ragging on him for having dementia and saying that he was unfit to serve. And look, I agree. He was unfit to serve because he was clearly too old, going through episodes of severe dementia. Yes, he was unfit to serve. But this is 10 times worse, man. This guy can't stand up straight. He's having strokes on live television. Some people just can't let go of power. That's what this is about. Senators have incredible social power in this country. I hope he resigns before 2026. I hope he does what's right because this can't keep happening.